Welcome to today's Catholic Daily Readings from Christus Dominus Bread of Life. A reading from the book of Numbers. The mixed multitude which was among them coveted avarice. And so the sons of Israel also wept, and they said, Who will give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish that we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers and melons and leeks and onions and garlic. Our soul is dry, our eyes look upon nothing but manna. And the manna was like coriander seed, and its color was like the color of bdellium. The people circled around, gathering it, and they ground it with a millstone, or crushed it with a mortar, and cooked it in a pot, and they made from it little cakes with a taste like bread with oil. And when the dew descended in the night over the camp, the manna descended together with it. And so Moses heard the people weeping by their families, each one at the door of his tent. And the fury of the Lord was greatly inflamed, and to Moses also it seemed intolerable. And he said to the Lord, Why have you afflicted your servant? Why do I not find favor before you? And why have you imposed the weight of this entire people upon me? Have I conceived this entire multitude? Or have I given birth to them, that you would say to me, Carry them in your bosom, as a nursemaid carries an infant, and bring them into the land about which you have sworn to their fathers? From where will I obtain the flesh to give to so great a multitude? They weep against me, saying, Give us flesh so that we may eat. I alone am not able to sustain this entire people, for it is too heavy for me. But if it seems to you otherwise, I beg you to put me to death, and so may I find favor in your eyes, lest I be afflicted with such evils.
Sing with joy to God our help. My people heard not my voice, and Israel obeyed me not. So I gave them up to the hardness of their hearts. They walked according to their own counsels. Sing with joy to God our help. If only my people and Israel walk in my ways, quickly would I humble their enemies. Against their foes I would turn my hand. Sing with joy to God our help. Those who hated the Lord would seek to flatter me, but their fate would endure forever. While Israel I would feed with the best of wheat, and with honey from the rock I would fill them. Sing with joy to God our help.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus had heard it, he withdrew from there by boat to a deserted place by himself. And when the crowds had heard of it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And going out, he saw a great multitude, and he took pity on them, and he cured their sick. And when evening had arrived, his disciples approached him, saying, "This is a deserted place, and the hour has now passed. Dismiss the crowds so that, by going into the towns, they may buy food for themselves." But Jesus said to them, "They have no need to go. Give them something to eat yourselves." And they said to him, "We have nothing here except 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said to them, "Bring them here to me." And when he had ordered the multitude to sit down upon the grass, he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and gazing up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitudes. And they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up the remnants, 12 baskets full of fragments. Now the number of those who ate was 5,000 men, besides women and children. Join us for today's reflection. Have you ever desperately needed some alone time, only to have everyone else's crisis become your emergency? You finally block out a weekend to recharge, and then the phone starts ringing. Family needs you, friends need you, work needs you, everyone needs you except you. That's exactly what happened to Jesus right after he heard that John the Baptist had been beheaded. Jesus tried to withdraw to a deserted place by himself. He needed to grieve. He needed to process. He needed space to be human in the face of devastating loss. His cousin, his forerunner, his friend was dead, and he wanted to be alone, but the crowds found him anyway. Here's what's remarkable. Jesus didn't send them away. He didn't say he was dealing with personal stuff and to come back tomorrow. He didn't explain that even the Son of God needs mental health breaks. Instead, his heart was moved with pity for them, and he cured their sick. This is one of the most human moments in all of Scripture, and it reveals something profound about how love actually works. Real love doesn't wait for convenient moments. Real love doesn't require you to be emotionally ready. Real love responds to need even when you have needs of your own. The disciples had a different perspective. As evening approached, they came to Jesus with perfectly reasonable advice. Dismiss the crowd so they can go buy food for themselves. Translation: Jesus, you've done enough. These people can take care of themselves now. Send them home. It's the voice of practical wisdom, of reasonable boundaries of self-care, and Jesus completely ignored it. Give them some food yourselves, he said. The disciples were incredulous. 5 loaves and 2 fish are all we have here. They were basically saying, Jesus, be realistic. We don't have the resources for this. We can't solve everyone's problems. But Jesus wasn't asking them to solve everyone's problems. He was asking them to offer what they had and trust him with the outcome. What happened next changed how we understand abundance forever. Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up to heaven, blessed them, broke them, and gave them to the disciples. And they fed 5,000 men, plus women and children, with 12 baskets left over. Today we celebrate Saint John Vianney, the patron saint of parish priests. For 40 years, he served as pastor in the tiny village of Ars, France. People came from all over Europe to seek his counsel, to make their confessions, to experience spiritual care that could only come from someone who had learned to give without counting the cost. John Vianney often spent 16 to 18 hours a day in the confessional. He barely ate, rarely slept enough, and gave away almost everything he owned. By every reasonable standard, he was burning himself out. Yet his ministry multiplied beyond anything he could have imagined. Like Jesus with the loaves and fishes, John Vianney discovered that when you offer what little you have with complete trust in God, miraculous multiplication happens. The miracle wasn't just about feeding hungry stomachs. It was about revealing that God's economy works completely differently from our economy. In our economy, you conserve resources to make them last. You set boundaries to protect what you have. You calculate carefully to ensure you don't run out. In God's economy, you give what you have away, and somehow there's always more. You pour yourself out in service, and instead of being emptied, you're filled. You offer your small resources to meet enormous needs, and God makes it enough. The disciples saw 5 loaves and 2 fish and calculated scarcity. Jesus saw 5 loaves and 2 fish and saw the raw material for abundance. The disciples saw an impossible situation and recommended retreat. Jesus saw an impossible situation and chose to engage. The disciples focused on what they didn't have. Jesus focused on what they did have and blessed it. This is the choice we face every day. When confronted with needs that exceed our resources, do we retreat into self-protection or step forward in trust? When people interrupt our plans with their emergencies, do we see inconvenience or opportunity? When our small offerings seem inadequate for the enormous problems around us, do we withhold them or place them in God's hands? Saint John Vianney chose trust over self-protection, engagement over retreat, offering over withholding. And through his willingness to be broken and distributed like bread, God fed thousands of souls who were starving for authentic spiritual care. The miracle isn't that Jesus turned 5 loaves into enough food for thousands. The miracle is that he's still doing it today, through ordinary people who are willing to offer what little they have instead of focusing on what they lack. Your small acts of kindness can feed someone's hope. Your limited time can meet someone's desperate need. Your insufficient resources can become God's abundant provision, but only if you're willing to let him take what you have, bless it, break it, and distribute it through you to a world that's waiting to be fed. The question isn't whether you have enough. The question is whether you're willing to offer what you have and trust God with the multiplication.